Okay, happy Monday in Japan anyway. This is a video for the latest from Kiwi Ears. It's called the Etude. It is a beryllium dynamic driver, which I'm a big fan of. 3 balanced armatures and a vibration transducer, which is kind of like a BCD with a spring in it, I believe, and it's causing, in the low end with instruments in a certain range, to give you a vibration in your ear. I uploaded a video that I might pin at the end of this, but I don't want to get copyrighted because you can hear Easy E in it. And you can see this set kind of sliding slowly across the desk that you're looking at right here. So this does give enough energy to do that. Looking at, if you want to get this set, go ahead and comment below this video. Give the video a thumbs up if you generally like it. And I'm going to give this to somebody that's a supporter of my channel and also the unboxing channel, which it would be announced over there in the community section. To that crew, thank you guys for your patience. Everybody that wins will be getting their stuff. Take a look at the frequency response graph over here on the left. This is compared with the Kiwi Ears Quintet. I put that up because it's a very nice set, but the ding on that set, despite putting, I think, 4 different types of drivers together in a really cohesive manner, is a little bit intense. This is a set that is tuned different from that, and this is a set that sounds like a polished and sound quality cadenza, which I'm a huge fan of, and I just did a video about a month ago. With vibration to it. So I think the beryllium is kind of part of the reason the low end has that kind of sound quality to it, like the cadenza. It has an anomaly between 150 and 200 hertz and then a dip after that, and this is something that is an exaggerated version of what we see in stuff like the Empire Ears Evo and other sets that contain drivers that give that subtle feedback. The more that you feel it, the more it's going to show up in a frequency response graph. There are others that don't quite show it, and it's very subtle, like the Camper CP622B, but most sets that are incorporating a bone conduction driver in a way to try to impact the lower frequency, you're going to actually see it when it gets measured. So this is doing that. I'm going to go ahead and talk about music and talk about when I cannot hear that little bump and dip. I'll give you, if you don't want to re-watch the whole video, I can't really find it so far with my library, which is rock and roll, hip hop. If you're not familiar with it, this is, you can zoom in on this. I'm listening for it. I'm not picking it up. So let's go ahead and talk about music. In the low end, 808 drops, Tupac, Too Short, Easy E, that I did the demonstration, the video of this sliding across the table, Kendrick Lamar, Public Enemy, Wu-Tang Clan. Those low frequency deck mix drops are kind of what this is aimed for, and they come through loud and clear. The 808 drops are spectacular. You can literally feel them. And again, it's enough energy to transfer through the material, the cap, and then to the table and cause it to basically skip because it's hopping up and down and then moving. So it does that well. If you want something that tickles your ear and gives you the bang when that 808 drops, this is one of those sets that's going to do it. And the rest of the tuning is, I think, very good. I think the bad habit, like CBJ and others had, is they try to push up the treble to kind of compensate for the low end, which turns it into a giant V, and then it's a screamy fest. The way to do this is kind of the way it's being done here. Again, less energy than the Quintet, which is even, I think that would have been probably best for that set, but this has less than that just for reference, and otherwise is virtually identical except for the peak and the drop, which is being caused by that vibration driver, which I believe is just a variant of a BCD. The bass guitar, the 4 and 5 string bass guitar, the pulls, the plucks, the releases, the ringing of the strings, it all sounds great. There's only a very small portion of this instrument which goes all the way up to really 6K effectively audibly, and it's so much of it is done well that this isn't really sticking out. It's certainly not when there's other instruments involved, like male or female vocals, a drum kit, other instruments. It's you can't pick it up. When listening to bass solo, I have audio samples of different tuned bass guitars, 4 and 5 string, EADG, and other types of tuning, and I can't get it. I can't get the missing part. I can feel the emphasis because of that vibration in my ear, but there's no oddity, like a hollowness or something going on. It's worth noting right here that producers who watch this video know that there's a trick that they do because psychoacoustic illusion by manipulating the frequency response graph is something that all producers know about. A slight cut in this same area, which is not why they did this at Kiwi Ears, but a slight cut in this same area where this dip is how they separate a drum kit and a bass guitar. Psychoacoustic illusion, they put it's a narrower, cut wide, or cut narrow, boost wide is really kind of the rule of thumb. And this is maybe a little wider than what producers would do, but they do actually do cuts to give separation between the two instruments so they don't dominate over each other. Sounds like it doesn't make any sense, possibly, but if you go ahead and Google that, I'm sure you can find that. How to create a notch in the low end to create a illusion of distance between two low-end instruments. They're going to talk about a narrow cut right about in this area. So it's something that's done in production that you probably are not aware of, and you're not picking it up because it's done quite often when there's multiple low-frequency instruments going on. I think it sounds great. I can't pick it up. As we move into the Bonham kick drum, the emphatic intro on the fourth album called When the Levee Breaks, the track called When the Levee Breaks, boom, 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 boom. This obviously is doing like the 808 drops and giving a substantial vibration to the ears. It feels really cool. I like it a lot. It's the first vibrating, affordable set that isn't screaming at me, which is another great appeal, and it's allowing it to sound kind of like a more polished cadenza, which is also brilliant, and I'm picking that up. It feels like it's genetically very close to that. Now let's move into vocals, which is essentially the mids for me. I talk about the vocals instead of really calling it mids because that is something that is very audibly and directly impacted by boosts or cuts in the mid bass and boosts or cuts in the upper mids. They're like bookshelves. Somebody asked me just before I turned on this video, can you hear it in male vocals because that's where they think it would be? No, actually, I don't hear it. But there's a caveat there, and that is that I'm getting vibrations a lot of the time. I listen to a couple Neil Young tracks, Gordon Lightfoot, where it's essentially a male vocalist and a guitar, so there's not a lot of production going on in the background, so you're able to focus on just the two. And there are moments when the low string on Gordon Lightfoot, a couple of his tracks, are lingering a moment longer than usual because of the vibration, and it's interrupting with Gordon Lightfoot's vocals. His vocals don't sound to the ear different, but the presence of the low frequency instrument being slightly emphasized by the vibration is audible. So it is skewing not Gordon Lightfoot's vocals. It's like a car audio system, and you turn up the 215-inch subwoofers, but everything else is still set perfectly, time corrected, everything. You're not going to hear your mids and your tweeters because you're overdoing the bass in a small kind of a way. This is kind of like that extra split second to a second of vibration in your ear is drawing your attention away, like a boosted treble would make you focus on it even if there was great bass. So I'm not picking up skewed male vocals or female vocals, but when there's a low frequency instrument accompanying it, it is pulling my attention away. So it's essentially the same thing. I don't hear hollowed out or weird vocals, but I do hear the bass guitar notes or the drum overpowering it at points. So to you, it might not matter what's happening. It's a different experience. But again, this is a set that is clearly going for people that want to emphasize low end. So it is skewing the low end a little bit. But if you're interested in this set really at all, I think you're kind of aware of that. If you're not, I'm going to tell you now that any set that is incorporating this kind of a transducer where they're saying that the low end is going to vibrate, it's going to be a mental distraction that's going to draw you away from something. And it most likely would be vocals. And in fact, this does do that. I enjoy it, but it does do that. Moving into harmonics and overtones, which is a great majority of the frequencies that you actually see on a frequency response graph. Remember, 55 to 60% of this graph is occupied by fundamentals, only 1.5K pretty much, and then the other 19,000 kilohertz. 19 other pieces the same size is compacted into really about 25% of this scale, 35. But it plays a crucial role in things that might stimulate you in a bad way immediately over a period of 30 minutes or longer, which prevents you from listening to a set for a long period of time. I thought the harmonics on this sounded fantastic. The low end, sometimes interference that would happen with vocals, because I was semi-expecting it, and then I was confirming it with listening to it. I think that the harmonics on this sound excellent. The keyboard, the cymbals and ride crashes are not overemphasized. Electric guitar, with or without distortion pedals, none of them seem to really get on me. There's two things going on. One is the general tuning of this set isn't really boosting up. I love the tuning of the set because it's peaking at the top of the ear gain, and then nothing really gets beyond that, except for a little peak that's near the resonance of the coupler, and for all intents and purposes that could be slightly lower, and then it's clearly falling down but not completely falling away. So I'm a fan of the tuning, and as it reflects and impacts the harmonics, a very important area for people's long-term listening potential, or pleasantry, possibility. This is tuned quite well. And it really allows for the focus to be on what is supposed to be the main thing, which is the beryllium driver and the vibration driver. So I'm going to go ahead and score this. Is it a dumpster fire? No. Hope it was free. For somebody in the comments below this video, it's going to be. Coping is working? No and yes. Whenever you're dealing with something that is creating like an event, a bone conductor driver that's vibrating, you're giving, and it's literally coping. I'm hearing bass guitar lines get in the way of vocals, but trying to listen if the vocals are themselves skewed, and not hearing that, but I am hearing. So that whole in the brain negotiation is literally coping. So in a way, competes with its peers. I think this is $199 to $150, and if that's true, then absolutely yes. There's not a lot of sets that do this and do this in its price range, so absolutely. I'd buy it. If it's below $250, I would actually spend money on this because of my library. As everybody knows, I'm a big hip-hop head, and I do like my bass guitar lines to sound substantial when the production in my memory and recall in live concerts or home and audio system, car audio systems reflects that. I want to kind of feel that, and this is a fun experience. Going to shamelessly hype it. Once I hear the actual confirmed price, and then get a clearer view of the market and other tunings that are claiming and actually vibrate on a desk, if that's what you're looking for, I might. I mean, if this is something that's alone in what it does, or by several $100s, yeah, I'm going to put it in a couple extra videos. So there's possibly that. That's it. Very pleasantly surprised, because I was expecting that what they were going to do, my expectations, was that everybody tries to push up the treble to not be distracted by the bass, which is kind of against the whole point of why these vibration type of tunings exist. You're supposed to be saying, hey, you love your low end, you want to kind of feel it at the same time, we have a set for you. You can't appeal to everybody all the time, and when you appeal to everybody, you kind of appeal to nobody. Really? A jack of all trades isn't really a glowing endorsement. It's like the U12T from 64 Audio, and I'm a big fan of that company, as you guys all know. I never liked that set because it really wasn't great for hip-hop, and it had a fuzziness to it that I could pick up that wasn't great for... So for $2,000 for most of its life, that wasn't a set that I didn't get the love. Unless you just wanted something safe and you didn't need to play with EQ across a multi-genre playlist, and you didn't want to, you just want to put it on shuffle. I could get it otherwise, but the U12T being what it was, like the rankings of it, also the Andromeda by Campfire Audio, I was never a fan of that. I thought it was too intense. I didn't think it had the weight and the note weight. So a lot of my takes don't match. A lot of the headphones that have rolled sub bass that you can audibly pick up with your ear, like on a bass line or drops, that can't be audiophile, which is faithful reproduction, which is, 808 drops, they're supposed to be 808 drops, and a 4 and 5 string bass guitar is supposed to sound like all of the strings are there and present. When you can pick it up instead of saying, well, you know, it otherwise sounds excellent, you can always EQ. Well, okay, then out of the box it's not audiophile, which is a lot of people say. I'm getting off on a tangent, but I'll let that go. This is a fun set. It's being advertised as such, and it's being priced, I think, appropriately. And I'm a big fan. I'm very glad they didn't boost up that upper mids a little more, because that would have been a problem. They didn't, so we have no problem. I'll go ahead and let you guys go. Don't forget, give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and go ahead and comment below if you are a subscriber, and maybe get this. It is something you likely don't have in your collection. A listenable vibration tactile feedback set that contains a beryllium driver. There's a lot of winning going on right there. And I am out.